When you are working and things are going fine, this thought almost never comes to your mind. What happens if this job disappears? Not because you are careless, but because when the paycheck is coming regularly, your brain assumes it always will. I used to think the same way. I thought layoffs were something that happened early in the careers, like people getting fired and all that. Or it happens to people who were underperforming or to people who didn't plan properly. But then I spent more time in the industry, years and years, more than a decade I have spent. And I saw something very different that I didn't think about at the start of the career. Layoffs don't care how smart you are. They don't care how senior you are. They don't care how hard you worked last quarter. They just happen. I have seen it hit people in their 20s. I have seen it hit people in the top leadership roles who were performing really well. And I have seen it hit people who thought they were safe. I have seen those as well. Like, I'm doing so well, I will never get laid off. I have seen that as well. What surprised me most was not the layoff itself, actually. It was what happened after. I remember talking to someone after he lost his job, a very sharp guy and solid experience. He wasn't panicking about interviews and everything. This was in here in United States. He was panicking about rent. He told me, I can handle the rejection. I have seen it enough in my career. I just don't know how I will pay for my next month, the rent. And that changes everything, right? When your bills are louder and bigger than your confidence, you don't think clearly at the time. You don't choose well, you don't negotiate well, you don't even show up as yourself at the time. You just want the pain to stop. That's when people have to accept wrong rules. That's when people kind of undersell themselves. That's when careers take damage very quietly, but they take that damage. And here's the uncomfortable truth I want to talk about. This fear doesn't go away with experience. No. I mean, people assume, even I assumed when I was in my 20s, that after 10 or 15 years, this stops being a concern. This stops being a concern. But it doesn't. It doesn't. The stakes actually get pretty higher if I put and think of it. Because now you have more responsibilities than when you had started your career in 20s. Like the rents and EMIs, the family, the commitments, things that don't pause just because the market is bad right now. This is why I want to talk about something very specific today. It's not about, motivation or a side hustle or, grind harder and all that stuff. No, I want to talk about a practical thing, preparation. Not professional preparation, but financial preparation. Over the years, one thing consistently made layoffs easier to handle. For me, or I have seen a lot of people who were able to face it very easily, comparatively easily, if I put it that way. Like, not painless, but just survivable. Like, those are always painful, but just survivable way of doing it. Having a buffer. I'm not talking about some perfect number. I'm talking about a breathing room. For me, that number has always been about 3 to 6 months of living expenses, having 3 to 6 months of financial buffer. Not luxury spending, not future investments, just the basics like the rent, the food, the utilities, transport. Enough to live without panic, without worrying, without that panicky situation for those 3 to 6 months. Is 6 months ideal? I believe yes. And I'm not saying from a financial expert guidance, just from my experience. Is 3 months still powerful? Yes, I feel 3 months is also powerful, because the difference between zero buffer, every rejection feels personal. Because if you don't have any buffer, then everything is very personal. But if you have some buffer, rejection feels little temporary. I can get over it now. I have some buffer. With no buffer, every interview is a desperation at that time. With some buffer, it's a conversation, which is much easier to have. I have seen people earning very high salaries, humongous salaries, struggle badly after layoffs. Not because they weren't capable, but because they never built this cushion. That's why I want to talk about and share it with you. They assumed income would always continue, right? They optimized lifestyle faster than the safety net. And when the income stopped, everything else collapsed with it. Now, let me be very, very clear here. This is not easy advice to follow early in your career. I get it. I also ignored all these things like, I will see when I have that much money. I know, I have gone through this. When you're starting out, you're barely covering expenses as well, right? We do all these things would not come in your mind. Saving feels almost impossible. Like sometimes it genuinely is like, there is no way we can save. And that's okay. I'm not saying it's not okay. The point is not perfection at that time. The point is the awareness. That's why I'm talking about this. If you are early in your career, remember this. One day your income will increase. Absolutely it will increase. And when it does, your lifestyle will want to increase even faster, right? We have all these dreams that I want to have a car and everything. That's the moment where this decision matters. Not when things go wrong, but when things go right. That's when you quietly build this safety net without telling anyone, without changing how you live publicly. Just enough so that if life throws a punch, you don't fall apart. Because layoffs and getting fired and all these things don't just test your skills, they test your emotional resilience. Anyone who has gone through it would definitely know how tough it is when you are let go from a company or for a job. And money, whether we like it or not, plays a huge role in that. A huge role in that. I'm not saying money solves everything there, but it doesn't. But it buys clarity during that phase. It buys clarity, it buys time, and the time is often the difference between recovery and regret. Remember this, careers are long, markets are unpredictable, and confidence comes and goes. But preparation, the preparation that you are going to do compounds. It compounds. And if this topic feels a little uncomfortable or doesn't feel it's not for me, that's a sign it matters. That's a sign it matters. And if you have already been through a layoff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So remember this for the future. Don't wait for uncertainty to force this lesson on you. Learn it while things are still calm, because I have gone through this. I have talked with so many professionals I have talked with over the years, global professionals, top leaders. I am sharing this with you for awareness. And if you are dealing with job uncertainty right now, or you have been through it before, just leave a comment. Just leave a comment like what your experience was, not advice or all those things. I'm just looking for just reality, because someone reading the comments now, like the comments that you are going to put in there tonight, needs to know they are not alone in this, that they are not alone in this.